reasons of God.
Oh, that's even better. Better reason.
We came last week, last Sunday, and then previous Sunday, but we didn't find the place.
Oh, really? Oh.
And today, we were almost going back. We were like circling this area since 1.5 hours.
Oh.
And GPS took us all the way down somewhere else, and then we were planning to go back. It was God's will.
You had the address on your GPS?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
We can write your turns where you must turn.
Yeah.
I would really
Then
appreciate
next time it'll be easy.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
It's too bad. You are connected with Nanda Gopal Prabhu in Fresno?
He was here 24 years ago.
I was visiting this temple 24 years ago.
24. What year is that? Now it's
96, 97, 98.
96. Yes. When our Guruji, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj, came first time here in 96.
I didn't meet them.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get a chance to see His Holiness.
Okay.
But I visited here a couple of times, actually more than a couple of times in
Okay.
those years.
24 years ago.
Yes.
Well, welcome back. And we're very happy that Lord Krishna arranged that you could find this place. Yeah. Actually, we have website and everything, you know. And if you would have known that website, then they give exact directions, how to drive and everything, you know. Yeah.
We even put the direction, it took us different way, and GPS took us different way.
Yeah.
But but it is His blessing that we are here.
Yes, so thank you for coming. We are having this like lecture program now for about 1 hour, and then we have the artik. We have the evening.
I will see how long I can stay because I also need to go back.
Yeah, long drive.
This will help you go back into the Dham.
Yes.
back to Dwarka.
Thank you.
As long as you can stay, if you have to leave earlier, you know, no problem.
Can someone write down the direction, easy one?
Yeah.
I put down the number on the pad.
Okay. And easy direction to go back, and next time when I will visit here.
They're going to Fresno, so they probably should just go up the
Miramonte?
2 and well, that's a shortcut, but it's very confusing. Whereas if you just spend a little more time, you can go up to the main highway.
Best way.
The 180, is it?
180?
No, yeah, 180. 245 up to 180.
245 to 180, so it's very easy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the others...
Very much winding and turning, twisting, turning.
A couple extra turns.
Yeah.
So.
But which one is the easiest way?
The easiest
That
way
one.
is just to go the 245, as Maharaj said, right?
180 towards the square?
Yeah, but
Yeah, the 180 Fresno all the way up into the Sequoia.
So from here we need to go towards the square and then 180.
a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah, but
Yes,
you
a little bit.
You
But
go
yes.
out of the driveway and take a right. And then that'll curve all the way around. And then up the hog bag.
that doesn't say much.
Yeah,
Hog.
I'm just trying to think what would be the easiest directions. I can write like a...
Actually, if we look it up on Google Maps, it will that route 245 and then
Fresno.
180. Very simple.
Because you can
So
drive
they
faster on
got
those
lost.
highways, so it's actually no longer in time. And it's the same time because going the so-called shortcut
Much slower.
is slower.
Yeah, and this one also is marked.
For
Actually,
nighttime it would be better to
yeah,
the
no
lines.
problem. So we're going to do a little bit of
Yes.
Hare Krishna and Kirtan, and then we will start our program talking about Ganga Devi, who everyone in the whole universe is worshipping. Ganga Devi, Ganga Mata. Yes. Oh, that's right, I'll play Mridanga. You want to play the gong? Oh, give me the other. Is the yellow Mridanga right here? Oh. Do you know the names of our Thakurji, our deities?
Thakurji, Shri Krishna,
Yes.
Mata Radha.
Yes. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Next to Krishna, the large size, is Gauranga Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Combined form of Radha and Krishna. When Krishna came 5,000 years ago, he had his flute and he was living in Vrindavan and his pastimes, Leelas. Then he came 500 years ago again, and he came and appeared in West Bengal, in India, and his name was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yes, very well known, all over India, all over the world. So he is Radha and Krishna combined together in one form. He's Krishna playing the role of a devotee, of himself, to teach us, actually, to teach us how to worship Krishna. So we have very much literature about his life and his teachings, 500 years ago. And he lived 24 years, first half of his life in Grihastha, family life in Navadvip, and then he became sannyasi. And the other 24 stayed on planet 48 years. The other 20 for the last final 24 years. But he also toured on foot as a sannyasi. He traveled all over South India, north, all the way to Vrindavan, and he visited Vrindavan like that. So our Hare Krishna movement was founded by our Prabhupada Swamiji. Yes, and he is in this line of spiritual masters that come down from Lord Chaitanya, from 500 years ago. So all these literatures that we study, they are by the great acharyas, spiritual masters, over the last 500 years. You see, they have given commentaries. Next to that altar is the two personalities with their arms up. These are Gaur Nitai. It means Lord Chaitanya. See the Gaur? Yes. And Lord Chaitanya is our right side, and then is Nityananda. So just like when Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago in Vrindavan, everyone knows his history from the Srimad Bhagavatam, how he was born in the Kamsa prison house, and he was brought across the Yamuna River. All of that is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. So, and then at that time Krishna also had, and his brother is Baladev or Balaram. So in this 500 years ago, we worship them, and then on this altar here is Narsingha Bhagavan. Yes, and Prahlad, his devotee. Everyone knows that story from Srimad Bhagavatam. And then on the far right over there is Lord Jagannath. Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra, the big ones. Not on the small altar, but against that wall there. You see, from where you're sitting? Yeah, the large ones there. And that's Jagannath and Baladev, again the brothers, Krishna and Balaram, and in the middle is Subhadra. Subhadra Devi is their sister, Krishna's sister. When Krishna was far from your place in Gujarat?
No, I'm from Panipat, sir.
From where?
Panipat.
Where is that?
Panipat. It is next to Delhi.
Oh, okay, you're from Uttar Pradesh.
No, Haryana.
Oh, Haryana, okay.
It is
Yeah.
between Delhi and Kurukshetra.
Yes, okay. I know that area.
And
Oh, okay.
I'm from Panipat.
Okay. Have we given him a pillow to sit?
No, I have.
Oh,
I offered them chairs too. If they
yeah, if you need chairs, we can also bring for you. No problem.
No, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Oh, okay. Please come again sometime. Now you know how to come. And all blessings of Lord Shri Radha Govinda, Radha Krishna, and all blessings of Shri Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all Nityananda, all blessings of Lord Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra Devi, Sudarshan, and all blessings of Lord Nrsimhadev, Bhagavan, and Prahlad Maharaj to you and your family and all the living entities. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Have we given the number, the phone number of Nanda Gopal so that he can, in the future, we have whole, you can tell. Yes. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Hey, anybody know where the paper cups are?
I know a lot of that stuff is in the cellars.
Oh, this stuff is
That's fine.
so arthritis. Yes. Yeah, I can send you the. Okay, I'm using Srila Bhakti Balabatirtha Maharaj's book.
I have in the car. Oh, you have?
You have it here on the computer. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Padmanabha Swami. Also, I was reading Srila Bharti Maharaj's.
I read about Srila Matha Goswami.
Yeah. So
there's a couple things in there that wasn't in Srila.
yeah, and also some specifics about Lord Jagannath and how he's woken.
Right, that was special.
Yeah.
That was special.
Manima, Parameshvara, Manima. Yeah,
Really
and
love
then having to see him in the reflection if he's actually accepted
I was
the bog offering.
I was not quite sure if I understood it. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. Okay. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Kuroti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatana Vansha Kalpaturubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavi Namo Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauda Trise Namaha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavasya Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha. I need some ginger or something, a little slice of ginger root. Some salt.
Tea, maybe 1 tea of ginger?
Yeah, that would be best.
Yes.
Hot tea. My throat is not clearing today. It's in the top level of my lungs. So then Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhakta Avataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktakam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So first of all we will hear about Srila Baladeva Bhushan. So here Srila Bhakti Balabatirtha Maharaj is telling that Srila Baladeva Vijayabhusan's birth, the time and the exact place of his birth are unknown. Perhaps one day historians will be able to establish these facts beyond any doubt. But from the little information that we do have about his life, we can conjecture that he was born in the 17th century of the modern era. Though we do not know the name of the exact village where he took birth, it was likely in the Baleshwara district of Orissa, somewhere near Raimuna. Raimuna is where Kirachar Gopinath is. From the date given in his commentary on Rupa Goswami's Stavamala. So Baladeva Vidyabhushan has given a commentary, many commentaries. One is on Rupa Goswami's Stavamala. So from the date that is given there, it is clear that Baladev was still living after the Battle of Plassey in 1757. So Plassey is probably a British battle or something like that, you know. We know that Baladev studied in one of the villages of Chilka Lake area in southern Orissa. Not far from Puri, Chilka Lake. Yes. There he learned grammar, poetics, and logic, achieving expertise in all these subjects. He began his studies of Vedanta there, but in order to study the commentaries in greater depth, he went to Mysore. Of course, that's in South India. He was there particularly impressed by the logical consistency of the Madhva Shuddhadvaita commentary on the Vedanta Sutras, and became a disciple of that school. And he began living in a Tattvavadi monastery. So, you know, not far from Mysore is Udupi. That's currently the place, since 800 years, where Madhvacharya established the deity of Krishna. The deity of Krishna, who actually came on the ship from Dwarka inside of a big chunk, a big huge boulder of Chandan. The deity was inside of there. You know that story?
I've heard it and it's not quite coming to my head, but it was definitely...
Right, so, you know, the Madhvacharya, of course, is an incarnation of Bhima and Hanuman and partially Lord Shiva. Yes. Hi, well, Tulsi, welcome to your eternal home. So, anyway, Madhvacharya, his Udupi village is like maybe 7 or 8 miles from the seashore. So once he was on the seashore, actually Madhvacharya is also born in that area. Not far from Udupi is where he established his mutts. There are actually 10 mutts. There's it's a whole village built around this, like a city now, small city. And the deity is in the central temple. That deity is the deity that was carved, I'm not sure if it was from Vishwakarma himself, but at the request of Rukmini Devi. Rukmini Devi requested that, see what happened was Krishna performed a pastime in Dwarka because the queens never saw Krishna in his beautiful Bal Gopal form and child and all of this. And so Rohini Devi was telling them about you know, those pastimes of Krishna. And then Krishna, and then, they were hearing, the queens of Krishna were hearing from Rohini Devi about those sweet pastimes. And then Mother Devaki, who's also hearing this, she began weeping and crying and saying, oh, I've never saw that form of my beautiful Krishna when he was so... And then Krishna said, oh Maya, oh mother, no problem, I will show you. And then he transformed himself right there into a Bal Gopal form, beautiful child, and taking yogurt and smearing it on her face and jumping on her lap and all of this, and everybody was drowned in Vatsalya Ras. So then Krishna came back to his regular form. And then Rukmini Devi, she said, I want a deity that is exactly this form of Krishna. I want a deity. So they had this deity made. And the deity is holding a yogurt churning rod. That's the form of the deity. And it's not so big, the deity, probably I think like this big maybe. Udupi, Madhvacharya's Krishna deity there. Because we're talking about Baladev Vidyabhushan and how he went to South India and studied and became a disciple in the line of Madhvacharya. See? So I'm just telling about Madhvacharya's place, Udupi. You ever been there?
I've not.
Oh, it's wonderful. Very wonderful place.
very much like to
It's
see
the place to go in the winter when it's too cold in Vrindavan. You know, and it's beautiful there. And the ocean, you can go swimming. And but there's also a lot of devotees go there in the wintertime who live in India and live in Vrindavan especially. And then they do Panchakarma because they've got a lot of very authentic Panchakarma places there.
Ayurvedic spas.
Yeah, there's more in Kerala, but here in Udupi, there are places that devotees have been going to for quite a few years. Like Jai Prabhupada Prabhu, he and his wife have been going there for 4 years now in the winter. And they do the Panchakarma thing, and then it improves their health a lot. Yeah. Anyway, I'm digressing here. So that deity from 5,000 years ago, during the time of Madhvacharya, which was 800 years ago, there was a ship coming from Dwarka, and it carried a lot of goods on it, you know, on the ocean. And Madhvacharya was there on the beachfront, and the ship got caught in a sand dune. And so they were calling out, you know, to the shore for help and this and that. And then Madhvacharya, because he's the wind god's son, you know, he took his chadar and he waved it like this, and the sails filled up with wind and took it away from the sand dune. So when the people came ashore, and then they approached Madhvacharya and said, oh, you know, you've saved us. So please, come onto our ship. We have so many goods, and we can give you whatever you want. Please come. So he came, and then he saw there was a huge, gigantic boulder of Chandan, Gopi Chandan from Dwarka. And so he said, this is very useful for us, you know, very useful. We use this for our tilak and all that. So this is all I want. Actually, there were two boulders. So they were so heavy that they took like 10 men to lift them and bring them off the ship and bring them onto the shore. And then Madhvacharya, he lifted it on his own, and suddenly the boulder split in two. And inside that boulder was this deity of Krishna. And then Madhvacharya became ecstatic, and he began to carry the deity on his shoulder all the way back to Udupi. And while he was walking to Udupi with the deity of Krishna, he began to compose all these prayers spontaneously in Sanskrit for the deity. So that deity is there in that temple, you know? Yeah. And the whole city worships that deity, you know? And they have a whole system, because he established 8 or 10 mutts, and they still go on to this day. They have their own sannyasi acharyas of each mutt. They have their own deities, and in this circle surrounding that temple, they have their own like structures, like big houses. They have their own programs, their own prasadam, everything. And what happens is every 1.5 or 2 years, there's a switch that one of the mutts takes over for that next time period. It's called a parya something. It happened while I was there. They bring their own deities from their mutt. The mutt that is, it's their turn, it's like a rotation. And then they bring their own deity into the temple, and then they worship. They take full, responsibility for all the worship. And there are so many different festivals and worship and dressing, and it goes on and on. It's a very small temple. And Madhvacharya, he did not want it to be a big temple. You know why? He didn't want to compete against the big temples in South India like Tirupati or Srirangam, you know, very big temples. So he just wanted to have this small temple, you know. And so the deity, if I remember correctly, he's open all 24 hours, you know. But you can't go into it. He's inside of a room, and you have to look through this window that has some like bars or something on it, and then you can see the deity inside of that area. Yeah. But I mean, you should see the outfits, and the very, very opulent outfits. And for every festival, they dress him in a particular way, you know. And they, like for Kurukshetra, you know, the festival of Bhagavad Gita Jayanti or something like that, then they have him dressed and seated, and then they have horses, and like he's on a chariot, like Krishna and Arjuna, you know, and all these different festivals. So, so Baladev Vidyabhushan, I'm reading from Srila Bhakti Vallabha Maharaj's biographical sketchbook. So he began his studies there. Okay, and he was there particularly impressed by the logical consistency of the Madhva Sudha Dvaita commentary on the Vedanta Sutras. And he became a disciple of that school. And he began living in a Tattvavadi monastery. This is in Mysore. So after taking sannyas, he moved to Purushottam Kshetra, where he engaged many of the local scholars in debate, demonstrating the depth of his scholarship. His fame soon spread throughout the area. Later, however, he met Radha Damodar Goswami, a scholar from Kanyakubja, under whose direction he studied Jiva Goswami's Satsandarbha in great detail. And when he was convinced of the supremacy of the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, he took initiation from Radha Damodar Goswami. He was thus initiated in Nityananda Prabhu's line. The following is his disciplic succession. First, Gauridas Pandit from the Navadvip area. Yes. What's it called? Ambika Kalna. Right. Gauridas Pandit first. Then Hriday Chaitanya Prabhu. Then Shyamananda Prabhu. Then Rasikananda Dev Goswami. Then Nayana Ananda Goswami. Then Radha Damodar Goswami. Then Baladev Vidyabhushan. Yes, up to that time. So Baladev then continued his studies of the Gaudiya literature under Pitambara Das. And later he studied the Bhagavad Purana under Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He also took the Vaishnava Vairagi's dress, at which time he was given the name Ekanti Govinda Das. Oh, never heard that before. Ekanti Govinda Das. Baladev's written works. He was ordered by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur to go to Jaipur, where he prayed to Rupa Goswami's Govindaji Murti for the authorization to write a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. He then composed the Govinda Bhashya, took it to Galta, which is right there, where he defeated the other sampradayas in debate, preserving the reputation of the Gaudiya school. And after this episode, he was given the title Vidya Bhushana. This story has been told in greater detail in this volume in the chapter on Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So the following is a list of Baladev Vidyabhushan's written works. Here it comes. Number 1, a commentary on the Brahma Sutras, Govinda Bhashya. 2, Siddhanta Ratnam. 3, Vedanta Shyamantaka. 4, Prameya Ratnavali. 5, Siddhanta Darpana. 6, Sahitya Kaumudi. 7, Kavya Kaushtuba. 8, Vyakarana Kaumudi, which appears to have been lost. Vyakarana Kaumudi. 9, Pada Kaushtuba. 10, Vaishnava Nandini, a commentary on the 10th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam. Vaishnava Nandini. 11, a commentary on Gopala Tapana Upanishad. 12, commentaries on the Isha and the 9 other Upanishads. 13, Gita Bhushana Bhashya, commentary on Bhagavad Gita. We have that. Bhanu Swami has done translation of that commentary. I have the book here. 14, Nam Artha Sudha, a commentary on the Vishnu Sahasranam. 15, Saranga Rangada, a commentary on Lagu Bhagavatamrita of Rupa Goswami. 16, Stavamala Vibhushana, a commentary on the Stavamala of Rupa Goswami. 17, a commentary on Rupa Goswami's Natika Chandrika. 18, Chanda Kaustuba Bhashya. 20, a commentary on Rasikananda's Shyamananda Shataka. 21, a commentary on Chandra Loka, which appears to have been lost. 22, Krishnanandini, a commentary on the Sahitya Kaumudi. 23, Govinda Bhashya Tika, a commentary on his own Govinda Bhashya. And 24, Shukshma, a further clarification of his own Siddhanta Ratnam. Other than these, it is claimed that Baladev also wrote an Aishwarya Kadambini, which is different from that which is written by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. In the Aishwarya Kadambini by Vishwanath, there is a discussion of the Dvaita and Advaita doctrines, which is missing from Baladev's work of that name. It is said that Baladev established the worship of the Vijay Gopal deity in Galta. His two most prominent disciples were Uddhava Das and Sri Nanda Mishra. In the succession of bona fide gurus, which make up the Madhva Gaudiya Saraswat Vaishnava Sampradaya, Baladev Vijayabhushan is to be remembered regularly. Simply demonstrating a connection through initiation to a family succession of initiating spiritual masters does not make one a bona fide guru. One must demonstrate complete dedication to the supreme truth, Brahmanishta. Only a pure devotee can be called a bona fide guru. Vishwanath Bhakta Sat Baladeva Jagannath Tar Priya Bhakti Vinod. That's from the Parampara, Guru Parampara song written by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, telling his name in our disciplic succession. Vishwanath Bhakta Sat, Baladev, then Jagannath Babaji, then Bhakti Vinod, our disciplic line. So I'll read what
Maharaj wants some honey in that drink.
just a little.
I put ginger and lemon juice a little bit.
Perfect.
And you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So now from Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Maharaj. Yeah. So he begins by saying, today is a very special day. It is the appearance day of Ganga Mata Goswamini and the disappearance day of Srila Baladev Vijayabhushan. It is essential to remember the Vaishnavas on their appearance and their disappearance days. This act of remembrance is a limb of bhakti, and failing to remember them on their titis is considered an offense. He repeats this almost every time. Yeah. So Srila Baladev Vijayabhushan, he tells about where he appeared. He studied Vedanta and all of that. We've already read that.
Made quite an impression on me. Their mood of how important it is to remember these personalities on his appearance. And how by doing that we develop relationships and really have have a deep debt of gratitude for that.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm going to go on to Gangamata Goswami. I just realized because he's come for the Artik and all that. We've heard. There's a bit more details, but you and I read that today. No, that was about Gangamata Goswami, right? Okay. So, Gangamata Goswami. Gangamata Goswami was formerly a princess by the name Sachi Devi. Her father was the king of Putia in the Rajashahi district of present-day Bangladesh. So at a very young age, she came to Vrindavan along with her aunt, Madhavi Devi. And when she met Sri Haridas Pandit Goswami, she desired to accept initiation from him. He was a very leading Vaishnava at that time. Time of the Goswamis, Haridas Pandit Goswami, in the Govindaji temple. And she desired to accept initiation from him. However, he was not disposed to accept her as a disciple, assuming that, given her status as a princess and her youthful beauty, that she would not be able to reside in Vrindavan and sustain on Madhukari by begging alms door to door. There's actually a background to this. They wanted her to marry. She's a princess, very beautiful, young, opulent, but she didn't want to. I will only marry Krishna. So eventually her aunt brought her to Vrindavan because she just wanted to come to Vrindavan, you know. You can imagine in those days, all these different renunciates and all the different kunjas. It wasn't like it is today with all the brick buildings and everything. Very austere living conditions, you know. But she wanted to be in Vrindavan. So she accepted initiation from Haridas Pandit. But he was not disposed to accept her as a disciple, assuming that given her status as a princess and her youthful, she would not be able to reside in Vrindavan and sustain on Madhukari by begging alms door to door. And so he denied her request. She was very crestfallen. She stayed on in Vrindavan, performing spiritual practices with great renunciation. Pleased to see her renunciation, Sri Haridas Goswami changed his mind, and he blessed her with Harinam and Diksha mantras. Now, Srimati Sachi Devi was quite scholarly. There's actually a lot more details in Srila Bhakti Bhagavatirtha Maharaj's section. Srimati Sachi Devi was quite scholarly. Being very conversant with the scriptures, she would give excellent discourses on Srimad Bhagavatam. As a result, she became a renowned Bhagavat speaker. And later, Haridas Goswami sent her to Jagannath Puri to the Shripat of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and instructed her to daily recite Srimad Bhagavatam there and instruct others in Hari Bhakti. And he also awarded her Kshetra Sannyas. In other words, she took a vow never to leave Jagannath Puri Dham. So following the order of her spiritual master, she went to Jagannath Puri. And her discourses on the Bhagavad attracted many. And the king of Orissa, upon hearing from her, became inspired to give her a large donation of wealth. But she refused it, as she did not wish to accumulate worldly possessions. The deity of Rasika Rai was previously worshipped by a Brahmin from Jaipur. So this is the deity. If you go there today to Jagannath Puri and you visit Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house, that's where she lived, you know. And there's a deity on the altar, which is her deity. So the deity of Rasik Rai was previously worshipped by a Brahmin from Jaipur. And in time, he was gripped by anxiety over the continuation of service to Rasik Rai after him, as he had no descendants. As a result, in a dream, Rasik Rai instructed him to hand over his service to Gangamata in Jagannath Puri. And when the Brahmin arrived with Rasik Rai and related the background to Gangamata, she refused to accept the service of the deity. However, as per Rasik Rai's direction, the Brahmin placed him under a tulsi plant. in the garden of Ganga Mata, and he went away. Then the next morning, when Ganga Mata went for Tulsi Parikrama, she discovered the deity there. How could she let the deity remain without any worship? So she brought him in and made arrangements for his service. The king, who was at that time named Mukundadev, took charge of making all arrangements, and he sent the daily needs like rice, grains, ghee, and so on from his own temple for Rasik Rai's service. This beautiful stone temple belonging to the king is located on the main road from where the Rath of Jagannath passes every year. The king's father and grandfather also used to serve in that temple. Now, how she got the name Ganga Mata Goswami. In the month of Chaitra, some followers of Ganga Mata who were going for a holy dip of Varuni Ganga requested her to join them for the pilgrimage. Although she had a deep desire to go, she could not due to her vow of Kshetra Sannyas. So to fulfill her desire, Ganga Devi appeared to her in a dream and said, "You need not go there to take bath in my waters. I will personally come to Shveta Sarovara." Shveta Sarovara is a pond built by King Shveta Vahana. Just as King Indradumna had built the Narendra Sarovara, so at midnight on that particular Titi, Chaitra Krishna Trayodasi, when Ganga Mata took a dip in Shveta Sarovara as per the instructions, she received in her dream that she should take a dip in that Shveta Sarovara. Then suddenly a strong current of the waters of the Ganges carried her inside the inner sanctum of the temple of Lord Jagannath. Now daily the main door of the temple is locked, with 3 different locks at night, and sealed with wax, and opened just before Mangalartik in the presence of 3 designated persons. 1 lock is opened by the representative of the Pujaris, addressed as Bitarchu Mahapatra. Srila Vartman is giving many details here, very interesting. Bitarchu Mahapatra, the representative of the Pujaris. Then another lock is opened by the representative of the king, and the 3rd one is opened by the Pujari as a representative of the Pandas. Bitarchu Mahapatra enters first, and he addresses Lord Jagannath thrice by saying, Sarveshvareshvara Manima, Raj Adi Raja Manima, Devadi Deva Manima. And then he opens the door. And at that time, 3 pujaris simultaneously enter the sanctum to offer arti to the 3 deities. And then the Mangal arti begins. This is the daily mandate. That day, when the pujaris entered, they were astonished to see Sachi Devi inside the temple, and alleging that she had hidden inside the temple with the intention to steal the valuables from the deity's treasury, they detained her in a hajat. That's a place for detention within the temple itself. Ganga Mata Goswami we're talking about, because it's her appearance day. So, later that same day, when it was time for the Bhoga offering to Jagannath, he did not accept it. So how does one ascertain this, whether Jagannath has accepted or not? Well, when the pujaris take achman, before offering the bhog, they see a reflection of the deities of Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra, respectively, in the purificatory water in their palms. But they did not see it. They did not see this reflection on that day. So, assuming that some offense had been committed, as a result of which Jagannath was upset, so all the preparations were given samadhi, the preparations that were made. Then a fire sacrifice was performed, after which the bhog was again cooked. But even when the bhog was offered, the second time, Jagannath did not accept it. And when this was repeated the 3rd time, then the king was alerted. Immediately the king came before Jagannath and resolved to fast till Jagannath accepted the bhog. Then, through an aerial voice, Jagannath declared, Because the pujaris accuse left, I will not accept any worship from their hands. So hearing of this, the priests prayed, oh, we have committed an offense at your lotus feet, but you are our only shelter. And they recited the following verse from the Skanda Purana. Bhumo skalitapadanam, bhumir eva avalambanam, tvai jata paradhanam, tvam eva sharanam prabho. And the translation, just as the ground is the only support for those whose feet have slipped, so also you alone are the only shelter, even for those who have committed an offense against you. So when a person falls down onto the ground, with whose support will he stand up again? He will stand with the support of the ground itself. So the pujaris were praying to Jagannath, please forgive us, and they uttered these, and then they said to Jagannath, these are your own words. These are your own words, that even though we're aparadis and offenders, we have no other shelter than you. Please forgive us. Then the Lord said, only if all the Pandavas, along with the king, become her disciples, I will accept their service. Thereafter, when the Pandavas approached Srimati Sachi Devi for initiation, she was taken aback. And she said, by virtue of being the servitors of Jagannath, you are all my Tirtha Gurus, so how can you become my disciples? However, the Pandavas persisted. They said, if you do not accept us as disciples, Jagannath will not accept our service. And Lord Jagannath then, he also instructed Sachi Devi in a dream to initiate them. And thus she finally conceded. And so the king, being the principal servitor of Jagannath, became her disciple, along with all the Pandavas. And after that, Jagannath accepted their service again. Thereafter, Shveta Sarovara came to be known as Shveta Ganga. And Srimati Sachi Devi came to be known as Ganga Mata Goswami. So, have you been there?
Yeah.
Anybody? You've not been there? You've not been there? You've been there? In Puri? Shveta Ganga?
I may have, but I don't recall. I wandered around.
You've been there? Yeah. So Shveta Ganga, Shveta Ganga is right near to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house. Very, very near to there. And you have to go way down these stairs, and there's a whole a square-shaped tank, with water. I had a very nice experience there, because I was there when was it? Yeah, 1 year ago, in the month of May. I was there during the hurricane that came in Puri. So there was so much devastation from that hurricane. And a couple of days after, I decided, well, I'm going to get on my rented bicycle, and I'm going to take a tour and go all the way down the beach. And I went all the way down the beach on my bicycle, and there, all the hotel windows all smashed, and all the trees, and all the sand blown up onto the, so I made that, and then I turned and went up toward the Jagannath temple. And it was very hot, actually, at that time. That's the hottest time of the year there. Very muggy and very hot. And so on my bicycle, I arrived at Sveta Ganga. And, everybody in Puri was quite devastated. It was like really shocking that. And so there was a whole bunch of Jagannath Puri residents, and you could see a lot of them were like the priests and the pandas and all. Everybody was swimming, and so I went in the Ganga. I was floating. It was very soothing, very sweet, and very soothing. And then I tried to get back on my bicycle. I went all the way up to Gundicha temple and tried to go that way near the train station to get back to our temple. But at that point, there was groups of young people, and they were blocking roads everywhere because they were protesting that a few days had gone by and the military, and they hadn't given aid yet, So they were taking the trees that had fallen down, and they were blocking roads. So I'm on my bicycle, and then then I have to turn, and then I have to go another way, and this kept on going on and on. And I'm trying to get back. So finally I got to Chakratirtha Road, right? But then they blocked that road completely with a whole bunch of branches and trees, and there was like a group of 100 or so young people. You know, and I'm there, you know, Western white guy with his bicycle, you know, and...
Your sannyas vesh, though, right?
No, I wasn't wearing it because I wore my bathing suit and my t-shirt. And I had like a hat for the sun, you know. Or maybe I did have my saffron. I don't remember. Maybe I did actually have that with me. But at any rate, they don't care. and so all these young people were saying, no, you cannot go. You cannot go. You cannot go. And by this time, I was really exhausted. You know, I was really exhausted. And it's like still another mile away on the bicycle to get. And I said, no, I will go. No, you cannot go. There's like 50 or 100 of these. You know, I was saying, no, I'm going to go. What I was going to do is like lift up my bike and carry it across all this, right? So finally, all of a sudden, one man who was elderly, he appeared there. And he just commanded all of them, you let him go. And then they helped to carry my bicycle across and I got back. You know, but Shveta Ganga, I got to bathe in the Shveta Ganga at that time. So, you know, Ganga Mata Goswamini is very worshipable female Vaishnavis in our disciplic line, you know, and she has shown such an example that is so extraordinary, taking birth as a princess, having all wealth, opulence, beauty, everything. But her heart was completely stolen by Krishna. And they would try to arrange, she can marry this person. And she said, no, on my own, I will only Krishna. Finally came to Vrindavan and lived very austere for quite many years there. And finally took initiation, you know. Then she was finally sent to Jagannath Puri and became the guru of the king. And this extraordinary, so what kind of exalted personality, Ganga Mata Goswami. So that's why in our Gurudev Sangha, we have our Ganga Matas, yeah, in London and so forth. So we have the Ganga Matas, the GMs, we have the Gaudiya girls, the GGs, and what else? Any other?
That's
Yeah, so Baladev Vidyabhushan Prabhu, we'll read about him another time because now the Artik has to come. But we are so indebted to Baladev Vidyabhushan Prabhu, who is the author. You know, they gave him 1 month actually to compose, but he did it in a much shorter time. I heard it was like 1 week, something like that. He wrote the entire Govinda Bhashya. You know, and it's extraordinary. We have the translations. There's quite a few different versions of the Govinda Bhashya commentary. And, you know, Baladev Vidyabhushan, every day we chant his name because he's a very, very important, significant person in our disciplic line that on behalf of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur as his disciple, Siksha disciple, he was ordered to go to Galta and defend what was going on at that time. What was going on is from the Ramananda. Persons were accusing that these Gaudiyas, they're not a bona fide sampradaya. Why are they not a bona fide sampradaya? Huh? Why are they not bona fide sampradaya?
They don't have a commentary.
They don't have a commentary on what?
Vedanta Sutra.
Vedanta Sutra. Yeah, 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas, 4 Acharyas, and they each have their own commentary in Vedanta Sutra. But even though the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, under Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they accept that there's no need of a commentary. Why? Because Vyasadeva has given the commentary. Srimad Bhagavatam is the commentary of Vedanta Sutra. No, you have to have your commentary. So they were also saying that Srimati Radhika should not be next to Govindaji in the temple in Jaipur. Trying to say, no, she cannot be there. And they were also trying to accuse that these persons in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, they're worshipping Krishna in this Parakiya Ras. But this is not factual. So, being the disciple, having studied the entire 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam under Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur himself, Baladev Vijayabhushan was a very rasik personality as well, and very great scholar, and had studied all the commentaries of Jiva Goswami and the 6 Goswamis, and especially his Sandarbhas. He had thoroughly studied those. So he was very well equipped. And when I've heard, we went there actually with Gurudev to Jaipur one time. And we also went to Galta, you know. And Galta is where he had the debates with all of them. And I've heard Madhav Maharaj kind of telling a little bit more detail where Baladev Vijayabhushan was actually a very small body. And he being Bengali, they're not very big-bodied like in North India and all of that, you know. And so he was in this assembly of all these scholars, and some of them were very big and stout, and, you know, and they were all, and he had a debate with them in the middle of this assembly. And he completely devastated them. Yeah, okay.
I can do the offering, and then I can do
The offering?
Yeah, I can do offering.
We have time.
And then
We have some
I can
time.
do
You can continue.
Oh.
Yeah, I can do the offering, and then we're going to
Oh, you're going to close the curtain, do the
Yeah,
offering,
do
and
the
then have the
offering.
artik after that.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that way you can.
And the
Okay.
son agrees
Sure,
with that.
that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Good. I didn't know that he could make that swap.
Sure.
Yeah, so if Baladev Vijayabhushan would not have written this commentary on the Govinda Bhashya commentary, then the Gaudiya Vaishnavas from that time, in the 1700s, they would not have been accepted. So, what the great feat that he accomplished is tantamount to what was done by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. And it's said in Srila Bharti Maharaj's commentary here. Actually, we have that time, so I'll read that one about Baladev Vijayabhushan. Yes. So once the king of Jaipur, who had accepted Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur as his spiritual master, and hence he belonged to the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So the king of Jaipur, he was faced with a challenge from the scholars, from the other Sampradayas, like Ramanuja Sampradaya, Nimbarka Sampradaya, Vishnu Swami Sampradaya, to prove the legitimacy of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. They did not consider the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya as sattvata, meaning bona fide, because they did not have any commentary on the Vedanta. And although it had commentaries on Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, and Srimad Bhagavatam, like here's a footnote. In traditional Vedantic circles, it is accepted as a custom that for any Jai Shri Radha Govinda Jiyo Ki Jai, that for any sampradaya to be considered authentic, it should have its own commentary on Prashtan Trai. What is Prashtan Trai? It refers to the 3 canonical texts of the Vedic philosophy. So, first one, Bhagavad Gita. Second one, the 10 principal Upanishads. And the third, Vedanta Sutra. It's called Prashtan Trai. So unless they have a commentary on these 3, they're not considered authorized disciplic succession. So thus, the Ramanandis were contesting that the Gaudiya Vaishnavas should give up the service of the deities of Govinda and Gopinath and entrust it to members of the bona fide Sampradaya. Yeah.
They didn't accept their connection to the Madhva Sampradaya then? The Gaudiya Vaishnavas. I mean, the Ramanuja Sampradaya didn't accept their connection to Madhvacharya?
Yeah, they didn't. Although Mahaprabhu came in that line, but they were not accepting. You know, there's the Tattvavadis in the Madhvacharya line, and there's also the Ramanandis from, I think it's from Ramanujacharya line, Ramanandis. They worship Lord Rama. So, yeah, they were not accepting. They were not accepting that the Gaudiya Vaishnavas are in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because many of the, that are in the line of Madhvacharya. Because many of the followers of Madhvacharya also don't accept. Even now, some of them don't accept that these Gaudiyas, they're like some renegade, sampradaya.
But you didn't find that when you went to UDP?
Well, I didn't have any discussions about it with them. They know about the Hare Krishna movement now, you know, and some of them I heard are very, very favorable toward Srila Prabhupada and toward the Hare Krishna movement, and yeah, they do recognize. They recognize Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But you know, Madhvacharya came before Mahaprabhu appeared. So in their line, you know, they're not like Gaur Bhaktas, you know, but they're Krishna Bhaktas, you know. And so, but at that time, then there was this big, huge controversy. And they put up this big objection that the Gaudiyas, they should not be looking after Radha, you know, Govindaji. And then other things they were stipulating as well. So, so the Ramanandis were contesting that the Gaudiya Vaishnavas should give up the service of the deities of Govinda and Gopinath and entrust it to members of a bona fide sampradaya. So the king of Jaipur was now faced with a predicament. He sent word to his guru Padapadma, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, asking for his intervention to play some part in this. But being incapacitated due to his advanced age, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur could not travel to Jaipur in person, and hence he sent the scholarly disciple Baladev Vidyabhushan in his stead. It was the opinion of Sri Chaitanya Dev that there is no need to write any commentary on Vedanta Sutra, because Vedavyas, the Adi Guru, has written in the Garuda Purana the following verse. Arto yam brahmasutranam bharatartha vinirnaya gayatri bhashya ruposo vedartha paribringhita purananam sama rupa sakshat bhagavatodita dvadasha skanda yukto yam shata vicheda samyuta granto ashtadasha sahasra Srimad Bhagavatabhida. Translation from the Garuda Purana. Srimad Bhagavatam is the authorized explanation of the Brahma Sutra, which is also called Vedanta Sutra. And it is a further explanation also of the Mahabharata. And it is the explanation of the Gayatri Mantra, and it is the essence of all Vedic knowledge. This Srimad Bhagavatam, containing 18,000 verses, is known as the explanation of all Vedic literatures. So based upon this verse, you know, from the Garuda Purana, written by Vyasadeva, Vyasadeva himself is telling that the Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural commentary. Arto yam brahmasutranam bharatartha vinirnaya. Also of the Mahabharata, but it is of the Brahma Sutra, it is the natural commentary, Srimad Bhagavatam. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, based upon that, he accepted. So it is clearly stated here in Vedartha, Veda Artha Paribringhita. It means that the meaning of all the Vedas has been explained elaborately in Srimad Bhagavatam. Vedartha Paribringhita. So Srimad Bhagavatam is full explanation of the entire Vedanta Sutra. And all of the Vedas, not just the Vedanta Sutra, but all of the Vedas. So hence, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has asserted that the Srimad Bhagavatam itself is the natural commentary on the Vedas. And so there is no need to write anything anew. But now, in Jaipur, upon the insistence of the other Sampradayas, Baladev Vidyabhushan contemplated, if I were to write a commentary, will I be going against the instructions of Mahaprabhu and become an offender at his lotus feet? He was concerned. Mahaprabhu has accepted Srimad Bhagavatam, but if I write another commentary, will I be offending? What shall I do in such a situation? So then he remembered Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who had been requested by Sri Haridas Goswami to compose the additional pastimes of Mahaprabhu, such as the sannyas pastimes, etc., which are left undescribed by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur in his book Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was in a dilemma. He considered, in this advanced age, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he's thinking, and he also wrote this, in this advanced age, my eyes cannot see properly, my hands shake, my ears are barely functional. In this situation, what shall I do? A Vaishnava Guru and a Agya Gurunam Avacharaniya. The Guru's instructions must be followed without any deliberation. You know this statement? It says, Agya means the order of Guru. Agya Gurunam Avacharaniya. That means what Guru orders must be followed without even questioning, deliberating. You see? Just follow. So he was considering like this. A Vaishnava is Guru, and Guru's instructions must be followed without any deliberation. So then, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he went to the temple of Sri Madan Mohan in Vrindavan, who is the Sambandha Adideva, who is the bestower of knowledge of one's relationship with the Supreme Lord. And he fell at his lotus feet, praying for guidance, and remained there, waiting for his instructions. And then the garland of Sri Madan Mohan loosened and dropped, and the Pujari Gosai Das gave that prasadi garland to Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Accepting this as Madan Mohan's sanction, he later wrote, in his own words, in the Adi Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 8, he wrote the following, E granta lekai more Madan Mohan, Amar likan jena sukera patan. Actually, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is not my writing, but is the dictation of Sri Madan Mohan. My writing is like the repetition of a parrot. So he said, my writing is like Shukera Patan, the repetition of a parrot. Shuka is a bird which repeats what it hears. So I write what Sri Madan Mohan speaks to me. So Baladev Vidyabhushan, considering how Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami accepted this order of the Vaishnava to write the later pastimes, and he didn't want to commit offense against, Vrindavan Das Thakur. So he had to pray for this benediction, and then Madan Mohan gave him the garland. And all the Vaishnavas understood he is directly blessed. So in actuality, later on in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a section, I think it's in the Madhya Lila, in the beginning of Madhya Lila, where Krishnadas Kaviraj is saying that, I'm very old now, and I'm very invalid, and my hands, as I'm writing, they're shaking, and I can't see properly. And in this condition, somehow or other, I'm going on writing. This is astonishing to me. How is it possible that I'm going on writing in this condition? Therefore, I've concluded, actually, I'm not writing. Madan Mohan is writing this through me. So in the same way, Baladev Vidyabhushan went to the temple of Govindadev, who is the Abhideya Devata, and he fell at his feet in prayer. And in sanction, Govindadev's garland fell. Thus he named his commentary on Vedanta Sutra Govinda Bhashya indicating that these are not my words. I have written whatever Govinda Dev made me write. He was given a month's time to compose the commentary, but he completed it much sooner, and it eventually became the topmost commentary. So Srila Baladev Vijayabhushan wrote that the same Lord, Sri Chaitanya Dev, who disapproved of writing any commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, has now, as Govinda Dev, ordered me to write the commentary Govinda Bhashya.
Question: was the commentary, the purports of our Srila Prabhupada and Bhagavad Gita taken from the explanation of Baladev Vijayabhushan's explanation of Bhagavad Gita?
Well, yeah, Prabhupada wrote that in his dedication page at the beginning, that this Bhagavad Gita, that he's of Baladev Vijayabhushan. On his, it's actually called Gita Bhushan commentary. So Srila Prabhupada's commentary was based on Baladev Vijayabhushan's presentation, his angle of vision, you know. And later we saw that our Gurudev, he also presented Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary, as well as Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Gurudev presented his commentary mixed with his own commentary as well. You know, so it's just very wonderful to see various commentaries of the Acharyas and how their angle of vision. I was telling this morning, like Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, you know, he said that Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis, they were both writing their book, Krishna, who is known as Govinda to the world. And Govinda. Here, you see Govinda, you know? And because when you have a gemstone, it has so many different facets and it reflects the light in different ways when you show it at different angles. So both Rupa and Sanatan were showing the same gem, Govinda. You see? Special realization and their special deeper understanding, sometimes very intimate understanding that's not visible to the other acharyas, is being revealed in their hearts. In that way, so Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, you know, he wrote all of his commentaries, and they're so sweet and wonderful. Baladev Vijayabhushan, his entire commentary, Gita, though his Siksha Guru had also written. Why? Because there's so much more to bring out from different angles, you know. You can see that in Gurudev's presentation of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that commentary, what is it named again? The No, that's it's Sarartha Varshini Vritti. That's Gurudev's. But Varshini Vritti, something like that. And what he's doing is he's bringing out, in his commentary, the moods. He's explaining what mood Krishna is speaking something in, you know, and illustrating that for us. There's a deeper, hidden intention. And Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj also wrote some commentary on various verses of the Bhagavad Gita particularly, and he called it the hidden treasure of the sweet absolute, you know. And there he's also mining these gemstones. But these are the realizations of the acharyas, that they're actually envisioning within their heart, just like the whole Ramananda Roy Sambad that we've been reading. Is all coming into his heart, you know, from the Lord. You know? So, just completing this. So glorious is his writing of the Govinda Bhashya that it was even accepted by the Oxford University. There was a professor from Shanti Niketan who had been to Oxford, and he mentioned that he found an English translation of the Govinda Bhashya there, although it was not available in India. Some verses from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita were also mentioned. So he got inspired. He acquired a copy and read the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. He became a follower. He related this incident to us in an assembly which was convened on the occasion of the inauguration of Mahaprabhu's temple. A scholar in India related how he was affected by reading the commentary of Baladev Vidibhushan in England, you know. So, Gita Bhashya, commentary on Bhagavad Gita, among numerous other scriptures. And thus, these stalwart Vaishnavas contributed greatly to firmly establish the Gaudiya conceptions and teachings, like Jiva Goswami did through the Satsandarbhas. You ready? Yeah. Okay. So there is one deity named Vijay Gopal at Galta, whose worship was established by Baladev Vidibhushan. He installed this large Vrindavan, installed the large in the Radha Shyamasundar temple. And the deity of Shyamasundar on the altar there, and there's that whole story from Srimati Radhika, you know. So in that way, we have made some little attempt. There's more, but now it's time for the Artik of Shri Shri Radha Govinda Gaur Premanandi. Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandhari Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Govinda Jiyo Ki Jai. Shri Gaur Artik Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Jugal Artik Ki Jai. Oh, tomorrow is Ekadasi Titi. And isn't it the Nirjal Ekadasi Titi, right?
Correct.
Pandava Nirjal, yes. So if you're a Pandava, then you can follow it. Jayo, Jayo. You know how to play Madanga, right?
Yeah.
Oh, can you play?
Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj ki Jai. Nitali Rupa Vishnu Vishnupada Stutara Sati Sri Srimad Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitali Rupa Vishnu Vishnupada Stutara Sati Sri Srimad Bhakti Pragyana Krishna Swami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitali Rupa Vishnu Vishnupada Stutara Sati Sri Srimad Bhakti Rakshak Sri Dhara Maharaj ki Jai. Nitya Rupa Vishnu Vishnupada Stutara Sati Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki Jai. Shri Mahabhagavad Prabhupada Shri Gopishwar Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Satchidananda Shri Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai. Vishnu Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannath Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Shri Gauri Vedanta Acharya Shri Baladevi Jibhushan Prabhu ki jai. Shri Shri Baladevi Jibhushan Tirubha Mahamotsav ki jai. Shri Shri Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur ki jai. Shri Naradam Shri Vachamananda Prabhu Trai ki jai. Shri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai. Shri Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Das Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Swarup Damodar Shri Roy Ramananda Gaur Parasadavinda ki jai. Ramacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem Jugo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Saraswati Gaur Bhaktivinda ki jai. Shri Andadvima Koyogapit Shri Navadvip Dham ki jai. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madana Mohan Radha Govinda Radha Gopinath ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dhara Shivanama Shri Brajmananda ki jai. Shri Daubai ki jai. Shri Nanda Maharaj Shodamai ki jai. Shri Radha Kund Shama Kund ki jai. Shrimati Ganga Devi ki jai. Shrimati Ganga Devi ki jai. Shri Gamati Ganga Devi ki jai. Shri Jamuna Devi ki jai. Shri Tulasi Devi ki jai. Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Laviti Shaka Risati Vrinda ki jai. Shrimati Vrinda Devi ki jai. Unmasi Yogamaya ki jai. Shri Gopishwar Mahadeva ki jai. Jai Jagannath Jai Baladev Jai Subhadra Shri Sudarshan Chakraju ki jai. Shri Nilachal Purushottam Kshetra ki jai. Sarva Vigna Vinashakari Shri Nrsimha Bhagavan ki jai. Kunti Pravar Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Chari Ram Chari Sampradaya Charya Chai ki jai. Shri Shri Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Chuna Bhavana Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Shri Shri Rupa Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Baladevi Jibhushan Prabhu ki jai. Shri Ganga Mata Goswami ki jai. Shri Vishwa Vaishnava Raja Sabha ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda ki jai. Swadesam Buddha Gotis ki jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vinda ki jai. Shri Nidai Gaura Premanandi.
Namaste, Namaste.
Oh, we do it together.
Yeah, do it together.
Oh, okay.
Namaste, Namaste, Maya.
Lakshmi Nrsimha Devi
Ki jai. We hope to see you back tomorrow at 5:30 or so. Please check in on us.
Jai Shrimati